Arigato. Drinking my coffee black. And if I drink a little Crown Royal Canadian whiskey, that will be neat. Welcome to the God Awful News. This is episode number 25. I am laying down some work. This is all the news. If I don't report it today, it's because I reported it yesterday, the day before, and some of these stories are going to come in and out, of course, and be ongoing, and so on and so on. It's my channel, All Good Things and All Good Time, where it's always a good day to be alive. And I got to get this bird out of here. Excuse me, sorry. Sorry about that. Birds were coming in my house. Had to stop that. Okay, sorry. All right, I think I just had a conversation with the real Tennessee Brando texting. It's hella cool. That'd be cool. I'd love to have him as a friend. Anyways, here I am. You and I. This small, happy, blue-collar YouTube channel where I do it for the love of it, obviously, because love all the emojis. I wish I spoke emoji. I don't speak emoji. I never know what anybody's saying. And my eyes can't see the little details. So I just see emojis, go, oh, that's cool. But I don't know what they mean. Anyway, cheers. My other camera won't let me make a live video for some reason right now. I never know what's going on with technology. There's so much to talk about. Yeah, so I don't know if you saw that. I'm kind of running short on pictures, and I took that picture. That was from a protest in, of all places, I think the one neutral country that never takes a stand. Aloha. I think that was in Switzerland, right? Where there was a parade of people with middle finger on their heads, and then one big one there, that huge middle finger with Donald Trump's face at the top of it. But I think that reflects the feeling of, I guess, all the countries except for like Putin, Putin's really happy right now. The Russian government loves us. Who else? North Korean government really likes us now. That really makes a lot of sense. Anyway, all right. So, but especially Greenland. Usha got pushed to the top of Greenland. I reported on this yesterday, but it's continuing through the news cycle now, and it's a beautiful thing. It's funny because I think J.D. Vance was up there, in Greenland amongst soldiers and whatnot, and I think he didn't apply eyeliner for a day. Like there's just a faint eyeliner there and this little cat eye, but it's not like recently applied. We haven't seen that recently, I think he was around real men and realized I probably shouldn't put on more eyeliner. And I am gonna get some eyeliner and put it on either before or during one of my news programs, just so I can try to step into the shoes of that masculine J.D. Vance, our vice president with perpetual eye makeup on. I wonder if that isn't some sort of weird behind the scenes thing where he has to what if he has to do that to show his allegiance, or that he's cowering to somebody who's got control of him, right? What if it's like, you have to do this thing and no one's gonna know why, but you've got to do it, and it's you know what I mean? Like, what if Peter Thiel makes him do that for all the money he's giving him or something? It's so weird. Like, with so many people criticizing him for it, you'd think he might self-reflect a little and stop, but it just gets it gets more noticeable all the time. Anyway. And is there mascara ever in there too? I mean, Jesse Waters definitely has both going on, and a whole bunch of other Republican men. Looks like little Dick Johnson's getting in the makeup act. He's got a lot of makeup on, seems noticeable. Oh, and Adam Schiff, while I like him very much, boy, his face looks like he's from, is he in Southern California, you know? The capital of plastic surgery. It's where it was originated. Anyway, he looks like he's had some work done all of a sudden. Like he's got that little Joker smile, and he don't have any of these wrinkles, and I think he's my age-ish, you know. You know, maybe he had a facelift and some injections, and his lips are fuller too. I wonder if he had some lip enhancements. Adam Schiff, it's so funny. I love the guy, but if in fact he did have plastic surgery, I'd like to reason that is unnecessary. So if you haven't heard, it's just more assault on any history that isn't the white man's weirdly washed KKK version. They're erasing all the black history they can, everywhere they can, including the Smithsonian, which is just so painful because I love the Smithsonian. Oh my God, I love the Smithsonian. And they're just gonna try to take, and there's so much history in there that's, you know, Asian American history, African American history, Native American history, that's all so important. And I mean, what are they, I mean, oh God, it is just so gross. But it's all part of the, the actual deep state, which is this national Christian, nationalist, anti-nationalist, weirdos, Ziklag group, and all its tentacles that have taken, they're trying to take over all the different aspects of our society. They got government, right? They're working on the arts and you name it, every aspect. And I don't know why. I'd love to see somebody report on Ziklag, you know, because that really is such a telling story that Democracy Now! Did about ProPublica's reporting. Nothing explains what's going on in a totality better than watching that 12-minute video. It is stirring. Oh yeah, so Usha, and so now Usha, no one likes Usha, so that's not smart. I mean, she had a chance of being a well-liked person. She could have been different than her husband, you know, in some way or another, just like Melania, but no. The Kristi Noem fallout is continuing. She's so gross. Everyone's reporting on it. Just like I was so viscerally pissed, and you know, people are using all these words like maybe, you know, want to throw up. I've never been. It's so offending. And then this girl being swept off the streets from Tufts, who's a PhD student, and PhD students everywhere now being treated like criminals, being put in handcuffs. You know, people. Oh my God. You know, it's just. But of course, that's one of the things they need to attack. And oh, it's so great. Oh, and they're just desecrating, destroying Black Lives Matter Square. I thought, what a cool thing, man. You know? Oh, and here's a hot tip. Here's a hot tourist tip. Okay, and it's not just in Washington, D.C., but in many cities. While the parking is complicated, often, all week, 6 days of the week. Sundays, parking is free. So if you pull into Washington, D.C., anywhere, 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, there is free parking everywhere that you can have all day long as a tourist and attend the Smithsonian. Yeah, I love that place. I've got, among my 1,000 videos are a few videos from the Smithsonian. One just walking through the building that has the Van Goghs and all that. The building itself is so freaking amazing. It's its own art. And the experience of walking down these huge halls with huge pillars and fountains. I mean, anyway, that's one of my videos. I love it. But it hasn't had very many views. It's all good. There are 1,000 random videos that only make sense in totality. They are a body of work. Cheers. Oh my goodness. Yeah, one of my biggest fans, Tennessee Brando. Actually, I think I'm communicating with him via text. He gave me like a number. I texted him. I said, "Is this really you?" He said, "Yes." Of course, anyone could say that. Maybe I'm being catfished. But anyway, it's cool because I really like Midas Touch. I've been watching Midas Touch. As soon as they hit the scene, it resonated well, just like, because it fits that whole genre that I already liked. Um, Vance, Fancy Pants, JD Vance. God, skinny jeans, and eye makeup, and those Republicans, they're the bastions of masculinity. So yeah, everybody hates Kristi. It's the grossest thing ever. Seen her there in front of many innocent people. She could have literally turned around and helped at least some of them escape right there. The ones everyone's like, what are you doing with this person or that person? The autism awareness tattoo, the freaking professional freaking uh, soccer player, the gay hairdresser, people legally working their way through the process. I mean, just, oh, and now, like Tennessee Brandon was talking about getting a new tattoo. I'm like, bro, what are you doing getting a free tattoo? You can't get new tattoo. You can't get new tattoos now. That could, I mean, if I just spoke with a English or some foreign accent, if I say I don't speak English and I have tattoos, dude, I'll be on a freaking plane going to El Salvador. These Nazi police going around, and how are they just? Don't they have a conscience? Don't they know they're violating the Constitution, and that they have the right to refuse to do that work? And what kind of sick bastard would want to do that work? And oh God. So 80%, yeah. Anyway, and the numbers they're saying are nothing. They're going for everyone's job, right? They don't want to just. There's 2.3 million federal workers. They're not just, oh, Elon Musk in his interview, that we'll get to that. But one of the freaking lies he said is it's only 1% or not even 1% of the population of the people working. They're gonna fire well over 1 million people, half of the federal workers, over 1 million people, right? And that's going to be 300,000 veterans amongst the 1 million people, right? And how is that going to work out well for our country? And all those people were doing a job based on a need. That's the thing that's so gross. Like, these jobs didn't just happen out of nothing. It was like, oh shit, we got to do something about this thing. We got to test our water. We got to clean up the meat packing plants, or we need a USDA guy there at the cattle farm to make sure our meat is clean. These are kind of important jobs. Like and then the Social Security. And the fallout. Social Security is so sad. What's going on? It's just the tip of the iceberg. There's going to be just mass numbers of old people suddenly, no money, and living not just paycheck to paycheck, but Social Security check to Social Security check. And sadly, a lot of these people voted for this, not realizing what the hell they were doing, obviously. So, yeah, Kristi Noem is just the most despicable person in the freaking world right now. And, yeah, her name is synonymous with vomit now in our country. And oh God, that's why, man, I warn you, never date a Republican woman. Oh, you might not wake up in the morning. That woman's pure evil. Holy shit. Frightening. I'm so happy to be single. You have no idea. Whew. And you women, man, you don't want to end up with a freaking Republican guy like JD Vance. God, that would be humiliating. Anyway, overnight, of course, there was another bombing raid on the last few buildings in Gaza. That no one's reporting that. Every night, another 30 to 50 people are killed in their sleep, and so that's the news. Since I'm reporting all the news, that's actually happening, and no one's reported anywhere about the guy that got the Oscar, right? The guy that got, and it's so sick how they are trying to make everybody anti-Semitic. It's like, hey, I mean, they've actually killed 200,000 people, right? They say there's an official death toll of 50, but they haven't undug all the rubble. When they pick up all those, they're gonna find there's just so much horror, and Yeah, there's nothing anti-Semitic about being offended by genocide and ethnic cleansing. Holy crap. But they keep trying to frame it like that. I mean, in Congress, just yesterday, gross, weird. Bernie Sanders having, yeah, so weird. No one really gets that. And it still goes on. And these attacks on universities, and that being the excuse they're using to attack universities. Oh, so yeah, but yeah, no one's talked about, yeah, where no one's talked about the Oscar winner, the directing Oscar winner who's on stage at the Oscars, whatever, 3 weeks ago. Yesterday he was let go after being 15 boot thugs invaded the West Bank, went to his home, beat him nearly to death, abducted him, and then let him go the next day, right? And that was the guy that just won an Oscar 3 weeks ago. And it's just interesting because I haven't seen that reported by anybody. I thought somebody would have, other than Democracy Now!, of course. So, yeah, it's weird how all the weirdly manipulative framing goes of all these things to try to. It's like, oh, we want to find a reason to. Okay, now we just got to find some bogus argument to fit that. Okay, that works. Like that's how Republicans work. Oh, anyway. Pegasus and Flock. So we now, I mean, Flock, it's public knowledge, but that's how and they're now proud and they're going to try to frame it as a positive, right? Oh, we're surveilling you, but it's a good thing because that's how we caught this terrorist who defaced a Tesla dealership, right? Can be. Doesn't have to be though. Anyway, I love how this is actually like a private channel because there's so few people on it, so we can actually interact. I mean, if you make a comment, there aren't that many of them. I'll see them and be able to at least see them. Whereas I don't think the people I put messages to can see that ticker tape that's going by really fast. Anyway, so flock surveillance programs are hundreds of cameras in a town or city that's tracking with AI everybody's car, reading your license plate, identifying who you are, and creating a dossier on all your patterns, where you go, how long you're there. It's just a very insane invasion of privacy, right? And that's how they caught the Tesla guy, or the guy that they're really just going to try to hammer this guy and make him an example out of him, give him 20 years in prison, right? While they let out violent cop killers who smeared the crap on the walls of the Capitol. They're gonna try to put this guy in jail for 20 years and call him a terrorist. They didn't call. And I've predicted already that he's gonna have a GoFundMe that's gonna be really popular. Like how much money is gonna go into the GoFundMe for his legal defense? I'm just saying, I'm expecting to see that as part of the news. So Flock, but then they're not talking about the other thing they're using, I'm pretty sure, right? We know it's a fact that the U.S. government has purchased Pegasus, this very invasive phone tracking software that just invades your phone, and the government can know everything you're doing all the time on your phone. It's very invasive. It's Israeli. It's Peter Thiel's, one of Peter Thiel's products. Frank Sinatra's son, Ronan Farrow, reported extensively on it. He was attacked with this software. Other government officials around the world, Spain, government officials were attacked with this software. But I think they're not just they're using a combination of Flock and I think Pegasus to root out any kind of immigrants or migrants or yeah, it's really scary. It is evil, and goddamn, it's a reason to want to become president. Just stop it. Oh God. But yeah, so I think, like, if I was worried when I someday become worried that they're gonna come knocking on my door, like, I mean, I could see myself in one of these cities. 'Cause it's not here yet. I could see myself trying to, ride a bike, walk places, borrow a friend's car, use someone else's car just to fuck with a system that's trying to track my every move and create a dossier, an artificial intelligent dossier on everything about me, right? Just try to obfuscate that. I think I could I could easily see myself just not wanting to, you know, even though I'm not doing nothing illegal. Um, anyway, so yeah, I think if you're worried about them knocking on your door, I think a Faraday cage. They make these little pouches, that can make it so your phone can't be tracked and goes, disappears. And I think that would be good. And I think you should stay on your friend's couch if you're a PhD student just trying to finish up school. I mean, stay on your friend's couch. Some white person like me, if I knew someone worried, I would fully let them crash on my couch. You know what I mean? And I'm sure, there's going to be people stashing freaking Anne Franks all over our country, I mean, it is just so haunting, this freaking overstep they've taken, stepping all over the Constitution, laughing about it. We're going to just disappear these people into El Salvador. I mean, it is just frightening. And then, if you haven't seen it, I was thinking about maybe, and that might be the first time I try to get a clip and put it into a video, but Forbes, breaking news of all things, Forbes does this long, they've got a camera at CCOT, that insane prison, when Kristi Noem goes there, and they're rolling for about 3 minutes as she does her performative little video. They make the prisoners come up to the thing. They make them take their shirts off so that their tattoos are showing, right? Implying that they must be criminals. They have tattoos. It is so horrifying. Meanwhile, she's right there, and she could just go, where's the guy with the, the few we are sure, there's at least 10 or 12 now that were definitely not in any kind of, they were just family people working 80 hours a week at a taco truck, one guy. And that's the other thing, just think about all the things that are going to contract our economy. One of them is a complete disruption in our labor force and the mass layoffs of 1 million federal workers, if not more. It's going to be more. It'll be 60%. It'll be 1.3 million people getting fired just because, and with punity, right? Told you were bad at your job, just lying, which just screws their life out. It's just the rudest, worst stuff any human could do. It is just remarkable. Anyway, all right, let's get back through the news here. The Musk interview, he's given a few that are just so bad. But his kid is screaming in the background. Right? The one kid he's got with him, he's neglecting, of course, and he's asked, like the South African guy talks about, a hero, Senator Kelly. He calls him a traitor, and he's asked about it. He's like, well, he puts another country's needs above his own. It is just the weakest, weirdest, grossest little, yeah. Oh, I forgot that. That's like that's a joke. That's a joke that I forgot, that I thought of in a comment, but about how, they've been shaving the back of Republicans' heads, and they keep finding 666 back there. Anyway, see, this is great. It's like a private channel. We're having a conversation. There's, this is blue collar YouTube. Oh, hey, let's look. Let's see how close I am to my first YouTube check. Oh, that's pretty funny. Okay. Okay, we'll get it. I'll show you right here. Let's see what it is. Okay. And I'm losing subscribers every day with my $74.19. $74.19. When I get to 100, they'll send me my first YouTube check. It's pretty funny. I'm clocking like, I think, like 35 cents a day. For the love of it. I do this for the love of it. Oh, hey, let's celebrate Canada. By golly. Canada, we love you. If you don't know, I'm a one drink a day alcoholic. And today I'm drinking my Crown Royal, my whiskey neat, straight from the bottle. Oh, we love you, Canada. Woo! All right. Let's get back to the news. So yeah, Musk is just so gross. And he just mumbles. And what's apparent is like even Elon Musk, Donald Trump's obviously never taken an economics class. Elon Musk's never taken an economics class. And the shit he says about our economy and what we got to do with it, and I mean, he just doesn't understand shit about shit. He's just another lying con man. That's all he's ever been. Oh, and him talking about, the humanity is on course. No, he's worried. He's asked, what? You haven't seen this? Holy shit. He's asked, oh my God. Okay, so Elon Musk is asked, what keeps you up at night? Oh, if you haven't seen this, oh my God. And so, you're waiting, bated breath. What keeps him up at night? Could it be his Tesla dealerships burning and whole entire continents and countries rejecting his products for the rest of their life now, including this country? No. He's worried about, and this is he thinks he's creating some sort of intelligent discourse that we're all going to say, oh, he's a genius. He's thinking about some important stuff. That guy's so smart. He's worried about declining birth rates. That's what he's worried about, the extinction of man because of declining birth rates. Meanwhile, holy shit, we got to worry about incompetence all over the world and very dangerous people having the access to nuclear weapons. That's something to maybe keep yourself up at night about, not declining birth rates. And if that's true, if that's really what you're worried about, then why would you be afraid of immigration? Immigration is what you want, right? If your country's, literally though, there are countries who are a step ahead of us on this. And it used to be the case, right? In the 70s, there was a book called The Population Bomb, and everybody read it. It was like, oh shit, we're going up a J curve, and we were, it took a whole bunch of years to get the first billion people, and then only this many for the second, and this many for the third, right? And now we're at 8 to 10 billion, and then there's arguments about what's the maximum capacity of Mother Earth, and all that. And then, cell phones came, and computers, and people stopped having sex with each other. They started looking down all the time instead of making eye contact. And so ahead of us in the technology bubble is South Korea, and Japan, and they do have their populations are shrinking, and like there's numbers, but like in 750 years, South Korea is not going to have any people if they stay on this course, right? And Japan loses like 100-something thousand people a year to their overall population. I think might be like, I don't know, 80, 100 million, I forget, 100 something. So that's going on, right? And which is just another reason why we shouldn't. Yeah, good point. It's all part of his rationale for wanting to grift his whole life to try to fly something to Mars. It's just this huge grift. It's all part of his rationale. That he's trying to make people think he's smart. Oh God, it is. Where was I? I don't know. I gotta drink some whiskey because this news is bad. And if you think it's bad today, listen, tomorrow it's going to be worse. Because we have a piece of shit for president, and he's going to make sure that happens for the next 1,395 days or something like that. Pretty close to that. Let's hope we live till we get there. What's going to come first? Military parades or martial law? Because these freaks just pining for it. So, so what would be smart for like Japan to do, right? But they do have, they have they don't want to mix, with any other race. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just how they are, right? Japan's been like that. So, which is fine, but that keeps them. If they would just invite, there's all these, any country that's worried about losing its population, just invite immigrants in from any of these countries. The people, whether it's North Africa or people from Venezuela who are beautiful people, or people from Mexico, or anybody trying to get out of their country, just let them in. And if you mix Venezuelans with Japanese, man, those people are going to be super beautiful people. And then they're going to want to have a lot of sex. So I'm just saying, man, that is the solution to a declining population. Welcome the immigrants in. And give them reproductive health care, so they can, in a healthy, happy way, have children. Just saying. But no, and the same white people, that flooded our streets with opium and just wiped out a whole bunch of white people on Oxycontin, right? Those are the people worried about our future population growth, right? While they're just killing themselves. Oh man. Whew. And then there's Small Hands Mark Rubio. I was listening to somebody, it might have been Tennessee Brandis, somebody trying to say what he was called, lying. They couldn't remember what he was called, the insult Trump had called him, and they called him Lion, because it was Lion Ted, and it was Small Hands Mark Rubio. Anyway, Small Hands Mark Rubio is proving to be just a completely hypocritical liar, of course, and he's just bribed, and he just sits there and sulks, and he's terrible, and it's just so sad. But the moment he speaks out of turn, he's gonna be fired. So he gonna keep his position as Secretary of State. I can't believe anybody even voted for any of these fools. And then, of course, Mr. King of the Measles, JFK Jr. is just destroying America's health prospects, the scientific programs, the research in cancer. There's just so much harm being done on so many levels. And I think some Republicans and figuring it out, and I think all independents have figured it out. And of course, any Republican who happens to be a veteran or on Social Security, which I think is a few of them, boy, they're getting a wake-up call, and I don't see them voting Republican. That's why. Oh, so of course I talked about we got the Stefanik is going back to her seat because they're going to lose it now, even though they won by 21 points. She's going back to her district. She's not going to be the ambassador to the United Nations, and but Mike Walls, the guy who has just proven to be incompetent, of course, which everyone, because all Republicans are incompetent. No, they were told to take their shirts off. If you watch that whole video, they were told, no, take your shirts off. They take them off. They come up to the jail, they take them off for that little performance. No, it's not. They're all in shirts. They all have white t-shirts. I thought they didn't have white t-shirts. But that's all performative for cameras so that we see their tattoos. Anyway, I presume you're on a slight delay. Good question. Might have seemed that way, that it's hot, and that's why. But no, they all had white t-shirts on. That's why I recommend watching that whole, I think it's Forbes Breaking News, which is usually just Russian propaganda. but you can't really unfilter that camera's view of what goes on, and it's gross. She and this Salvadoran getting a laugh, chuckling. It's just gross, and it really sheds the real light on seeing 3 or 4 minutes of her walking around when she could be a hero, just dancing on the graves and souls of others. It's just, oh. But yeah, Marco Rubio just, I mean, oh yeah, this woman, yeah, right, conflating this, someone who writes an article speaking against genocide. Meanwhile, Trump freaking, they dropped flyers that said, we're going to remove you all, and no one's even going to remember you were here. How's that for just insult to the injury and the constant injury and the bombing overnight every night in Gaza, still to this day? Israel just cut off, I mean, they're just squeezing them and they cut off electricity, humanitarian aid, fuel. They're bombing him every night. They violated the ceasefire immediately after because they don't actually, there's no good intentions with ceasefire. Anyway, it's brutal. And, and it wasn't Biden's fault, but Biden did at least withhold the 2,000-pound bombs that are now just leveling everything. Trump was just all too happy. Here's some 2,000-pound bombs, and why don't we just ethnically cleanse it? So I've already reported on it, but they've got a program now started that's going to start deporting 5,000 per day. That's their goal. How long will it take to empty Gaza at a pace of 5,000 a day? So anyway, yeah, it's fascinating. I have video from Palestine before it became Israel that my grandfather made in 1934 on a Mediterranean cruise. And I'll be posting that soon. I need to get back into my grandpa's home movie and start posting all those. Now that I'm monetized again, as you saw, I've made $74. It's freaking amazing. All right, so the stock market, I happened to make a perfect call, at least this week. It's making me look good on Wednesday. Wednesday was the last gasp, but stock market opened up, and then it started to slide, and I think it was safe to say at that moment, like I did, I went on Facebook. I never go on Facebook. That's got all the people I've known my whole life on it and all that shit. And from every job and from every school and all those people, all my ex-girlfriends are on there. I think one of them might have a lot of money too, and is a widow. And yeah, I mean, there's a couple people here that are interested in the stock market, following it, agreeing with me, going, yeah. If you look at the stock market from 30, 40,000 feet, it's like, holy shit. And all the dumb shit's down at the bottom, like in business news, we're just in denial. All these Republicans trying to reframe everything, just lie to people, telling people, you should buy Tesla stock. It's the best deal ever, whatever. All this weird shit. It's all for nothing. Stock market is, the economy's contracting. There's supply. Where do you start? Inflation's up, unemployment's up, supply chain disruptions, huge labor disruptions, mass layoffs, consumer confidence, consumer expectations. Fear, volatility, uncertainty. Tariffs are stupid as shit. Causing downward pressure. It's a threatening war with 8 different countries, all our previous allies. Oh, God, it is. So, yeah, the only question is, when will it find its bottom? How long will it be before the federal government decides, oh, we got to give a bunch of money to Wall Street like they did the last time Donald Trump destroyed the stock market? He dropped it 11,000 points from 29,400 something to 18,000. 11,000 points. He destroyed the stock. And then what did he do? Oh, here you guys, here's a bunch of bailout money, so you can buy back shares of your stock and stuff. So, yeah, that's that. And when that happens, that's when you realize, okay, that's the bottom. And it's generally safe to get back in then because, but, airline industry in the tubes, right? Auto industry in the tubes. Everybody hates tech companies right now. Everybody hates Amazon and Walmart and Target and McDonald's and anybody that supported Project 2025 and anyone who eliminated their DEI is going to get punished, right? It's time to review your portfolio and play defense, right? A big part of making money on Wall Street is not losing money. It's more important than making money, is not losing money. And yeah. So if you're actively investing, maybe you have no control over your money. It's all just in a 401k and mutual funds, and you got no choice but to write it out. But if you are an active investor, I mean, if you don't see the writing on the wall, I mean, it's already there. We've lost 4 trillion in overall value, and the overall price to earnings ratio has gone from 22 times look forward earnings to 20, maybe 19 and a half right now, or 20. But I mean, it'll probably, anyway, where will the bottom be? Will it be 32,000, 35,000, 38,000? I don't know. It's going to be an interesting slide, but I think that's what it's going to be. It's going to be a slide. And of course, the traders are going to bump it up and down as it's going down, right? And there'll be people making money on the bumps, but I'm not fancy enough or smart enough to figure out how to do that. I am smart enough to understand that it's not a good time to be optimistic in the stock market, and to be very careful and selective, and to know everything about the company you're investing in and where their exposures are and if they're exposed to tariffs. And but having said that, right, find the good companies and just watch them. And watch them lose 25% of their value, even though nothing's changed. Maybe this company or that company is all domestic, and all of their revenues come from a subscription of sorts that hasn't changed from day to day. Nothing's changed, but because the whole stock market dropped, their company's prices dropped, right? And that's where you find the good deals, and that all takes your own hard work. Or you watch TV, watch some CNBC, and sift through the garbage. Oh, God, Joe Kernan is such an embarrassment. And Maria Bartiromo used to work for them, too, and she just perpetually embarrasses. And Larry Kudlow finally admitted, what was it, though, that made him say something negative? It was when there was a suggestion that they're going to raise taxes on the rich. It's like, that's where he drew the line. That's stupid. He went against Donald Trump, or I don't know, which is weird. I don't know what that's all about, this new suggestion that there's an idea floated to increase taxes on the rich. But that is a popular idea. Everybody wants that. That's a guarantee. In Tennessee, you got Justin Peterson. If you don't know Tennessee politics, there's like the main population centers, the big cities have representatives that are either black or female, and they have been either censured or kicked out of Congress, reelected back into Congress, treated like shit all the time, and they're just trying to do God's work, trying to make the streets safer with gun violence and all the rest, and protect people that are targets of these horrible people that love to target anybody that's vulnerable or doesn't have a huge number of people that will fight. Whether you're the 4% of the Jewish community in our country, or the 0.5% of the trans community, or whatever. I mean, you're just the target of Republicans, and it's just it's on full display. Like, they're not even hiding it. They're just blatantly being evil, racist, fucking shitty people. And they legalized discrimination against our gay brothers and sisters through that fake case about a cake in Colorado, right? But that means it's legal to discriminate against Republicans. Oh, I just can't wait. I pray someday I see a business with a sign in the window that says, "We discriminate against Republicans. We do not serve Republicans. No shirt, no shoes, no Republicans, no service." Oh, God, that would just make me so happy. But I think it would be legal, right? And fun as hell. It's one of my many reasons for dreaming of having a business someday, so I can have a window that I can hang a sign like that. And one of my future, because I have about 10 1-hour comedy shows that I can and will someday do when the opportunity fully presents itself, because I'm an old man who finally got into comedy. And when you're an old man, you know, at this age, mid-50s, I still remember most of it, and I haven't lost my mind yet. So, you know, there's just a lot. But one of them is where I'm gonna do all my rants and my Republican jokes, and that whole comedy show is gonna be called, and also to imply that I don't want them there in my audience, but the name of the show is gonna be No Republicans Allowed. And I look forward to that someday. That'd be like my fourth or fifth show I do. First one's gonna be Finding My Marbles, Life After Losing Everything. I gotta get that one off the desk and out of my mind, and so I can move on to everything else. That's the one that popped up after I lost everything in the line of fire was, oh, I got a whole hour of fucking jokes now about losing everything. So, and it's therapy, and I think so it might have some general other value. So yeah, Justin Peterson in Tennessee, his brother, and this is the saddest thing. This is why you are 5 times less likely to die of a gun if you're like me. And there isn't one here. There's no gun here in my house. So if I decide, oh man, I'm so sad and depressed, I want to kill myself, it's going to be really hard for me to kill myself, okay? But if I have a gun, I can go from decision to dead in freaking 4 seconds, right? I mean, if you want to be really effective, the only time you ever hear people succeeding at killing themselves, they use the gun, because guns really work well at that, right? Guns do one thing: they just kill. they take life of people, animals, plants. They have no other function or purpose. Anyway, and it's so sad. Like, we literally, here's what I want to see. I want to see a campaign where they tell the truth, which is what we've done is Republicans have done is it's not just because what they want to do is they love gun violence, because then that makes you need to buy more guns. But really, they got this saying, if you outlaw guns, only outlaws are going to have guns, which is such a pile of shit. What Republicans have done is made sure that free guns for all criminals, right? If you're a criminal, free guns for you in America. All you got to do is rip off any old house that has a shit ton of unsecured guns, often never registered because they're so old. My dad had like 60 guns, and 3 of them were registered, maybe, right? So I don't think that number of 450 million guns or 400 million is accurate. I think it's more. I bet there's 500 or 600 million guns. Guns aren't dairy products. They don't go bad. But yeah, if you want to be 5 times less likely to die from a gun, if you don't have one, that's all you got to do, right? But yeah, we just give free guns away. And there's 4 gun shops in Texas that sell all the guns that go to the cartels. And we know it. They're tiny little towns that sell enormous numbers of guns, right? A small town. And they go straight to Mexico. And God, anyway, so yeah, it's just free guns for all criminals. And so yeah, the Republican gun laws just arm the criminals, create chaos and death. And in this case, this poor guy, Justin Peterson, who's been doing God's work in Tennessee, I can't even believe it, just right a few months ago, his brother commits suicide, right, with a gun. I mean, so fresh, that wound. And anyway, and he was speaking up for him, and then they had to remove him. One of the racist freaking Tennessee Republicans said some shit he shouldn't have said. It was just a shit show, but it's an ongoing shit show of racist Republicans that want to flood the streets with free guns for criminals in Tennessee versus all the sane people that don't want to burn and ban books. And they eliminated the permit to carry and conceal a gun in the state of Tennessee. And since they did that, they've had a shit ton more violence. Anyway, but also, I mean, I know this kid whose dad was the president of, this very special restaurant company here in Hawaii, in Lake Tahoe. great family. I opened Duke's Malibu with him. Kid was a bar manager there. He moved back to the mainland, started a business. It was a successful business. Had a beautiful wife. His friends came over for dinner. They were in the middle of a frickin' dinner together, and he goes upstairs and puts a gun to his head and kills himself. A kid that had everything anyone could ever dream of. Everything went great in his life, but because of the presence of the gun, he was able to do that. Had he not had that gun there, that good kid would still be alive. And yeah, and his dad is just a dear man, old friend of mine. When I moved to Maui, the president of this company, TS Restaurants, he said, I saw him at a Christmas party in Malibu. I opened Duke's in Malibu, and he said, I said, I'm going to move to Hawaii and apply for a job. Can I use you as a reference? He said, instead of that, why don't you send your application to my office? I'll fax it ahead for you. So I came to Hula Grill. They had a faxed application from me to them from the president of the company. I mean, what a good guy. So that's how I got here, and that's how I was able to start working my second day here. And, but yeah, I mean, story after story, right? Yeah. Oh, so this gets back to all right. Whew. It's just that comment. That's all it took. Whew. So yeah, Elon Musk doesn't know shit, and he don't know shit about fucking economics, and he reveals it when he starts talking about, well, versus the corporation, you know, the federal government works this way versus that way. There's no point in history where the federal government is supposed to work like a fucking corporation. And this dipshit never took a fucking econ course. Yeah, maybe he learned how to code, you know, but he's a fucking dipshit from another fucking country. He's a foreigner here fucking our country up. Also, he can say, oh, humanity's gonna die because I'm gonna kill it off, and then you're all gonna have to give me all your money to try to get to Mars so we can save our race. If you want to do that, if you can build capsules that can handle 250-mile-an-hour winds and 200-degree temperatures and negative 100-degree temperatures, right? If you can do that on Mars, just do that here. Go out in the Mojave Desert and create this place that's going to survive no matter what happens in the world. Because no matter what happens in the world, even nuclear disaster, nothing's going to be as bad as Mars. So just start building that shit here. We don't need it on Mars. We need it here. And then maybe we can save our country. And meanwhile, why isn't we need to collectively get our government to help us build fucking bomb shelters. Serious? Like, what's that? Is it like Switzerland or Denmark or Sweden or Finland? One of those European countries has just their mountains drilled everywhere. There's freaking bomb shelters everywhere. We need to do that here because we have such a fucking incompetent piece of shit as president and all the dipshits around him. Oh, the signal gate, the criminal shit, and then their blatant lying is so offensive and so on display. Just like their racism and their misogyny and their incompetence and their criminal behavior and their bribe taking and their bribe making. We literally, the Republican Party serves no good purpose. We could just eliminate it. We should start a second party, either call them the Canadian Party because they have the values we wish we had, or we call it the workers, women, and I don't know, workers and women. Oh, and environment, WWE, workers, women, and the environment party. Oh, peace. Put peace in there. The Workers, Women, Environment, and Peace Party. WEP. Oh, God. Yeah, it is just the saddest thing ever. All right. Let's move on. So, yeah, that's when you really see, holy shit, the guy doesn't understand basic economics. He just doesn't. This is Elon Musk. Everyone talking about how smart he is. And he doesn't understand our government. He doesn't. And he's cruel. And oh God, all the cruelty the cruelty in all of it is just what's stinging. I think just pisses people up, makes people want to punch a Republican. Oh yeah, fucking. Humanity is dying. Yeah, because of you, Elon Musk. Jesus Christ, what the hell you gonna do? All right. So, yeah, and then outrage is just gonna continue. That's most of the news here. If I didn't talk about it today, it's because I talked about it yesterday. The day before that, what time is it? 56 minutes. We're not to an hour yet. At this point, from this point on, this is just hubris. This is just us having a conversation and me just wanting to hear myself speak because there's 9 people watching. That's a huge crowd on my channel. I celebrate you, 9 people. I celebrate you. You are awesome. Thank you. But also, you heard it here, man. 2 days ago, I made the call. Stock market's about to take a huge hit. And what happened? Oh, shit, it just took a huge hit. Since I said that, it's gone down a shit ton. And I doubt it'll test the highs it had early this week for a while. This is just my personal opinion. But definitely be careful if you're involved in the stock market. And if you want to get into it, I recommend real estate investment trusts that pay 10 to 15% dividends and seem to be insulated. Love you too, girl. That's so cool. Those are that's the only emoji I understand is those hearts. I can comprehend that. Oh God, and all these people being abducted and disappeared, and I mean now there's just no. I mean, if no one sees you get abducted, no one would know why you just vanished. And if they can just put you on a plane and take you to some foreign country and vanish you into a gulag, and it won't be long before we're sending. I mean, do you not think Putin would love to have some American prisoners in his country being paid by Trump for it? Oh, it'd make him so happy. Or China or North Korea. I mean, it is just so scary. It is the scariest thing ever. If you've never been incarcerated, there are few things worse than being incarcerated. And then, of course, all these detainees, they don't know when they're getting out. It's even worse than being a convicted criminal in the United States where you have a date. You have some idea, well, I'm going to get out in this many weeks, months, years, whatever. These people have no idea. The people were detaining and disappearing into this. And, of course, it's a Louisiana freaking pay-to-play correctional facility that's getting paid for keeping these people there. A Republican place just... committing crimes against humanity. These are just crimes that should be answered for by criminal Republicans. God, Republicans are the shittiest people on earth. There's one less, 4,072 elected Republicans. And God, I pray, wouldn't it be cool? Oh, and how about Musk he's committing crimes right there. He's trying to totally sway the. And doesn't he understand that everybody hates him? If you're trying to sway an election in Wisconsin with the Supreme Court, and in his interview, he's talking about how that's really important, right? Yeah, it's important for the sake of good that Musk's guy doesn't win, but that just could be the most toxic pill you could be as a Republican right now. I mean, people are rising up, they're pissed off. They don't know what to protest for. There's so many things to protest for. I wish I knew where there was a protest. Maui's an interesting place because everyone's either working. Everyone who can work is working, and it's hard to get a crowd for things. I assume anyway. Here I am, holed up in this luxurious apartment, looking over the ocean, staying home way too much. But I have so little money, and you know, the world outside, if you watch TV, is so scary. Jesus. But I wonder if I'll see. I've thought about, it's so crazy, and I know, and I say this because I know I'm not the only one thinking about weird shit like this, but I've thought about going and just kind of parking and watching the parking lot at our police station, because it's right next to a gym and the fire department, or I can just get out of my car and just hang out and watch, and just to see if there's like ICE, DEA, all these asshole agencies coming together to go collect people up, right? I mean, Hawaii is nothing but immigrants, nothing but brown-skinned people, nothing but immigrant brown-skinned people with tattoos. Like, holy fucking shit. I would be so scared if I was anybody. Oh, April 5th at City Hall. Okay, I'll have to go there and report. Oh my God, there's 13 people watching. See, this is where my human, how could I quit now? There's 12 people. 12, it's like that ad. But for me, that's a massive crowd. Oh man, but yeah, I expect the economy gonna shrink like a medium-sized penis on a cold day. Sorry, now watch, I'm gonna lose like 3 people. Anyway, let's drink some coffee black. And remember, of course, the news is gonna be depressing. It is depressing, but that doesn't mean you have to be depressed, or me. We can still be happy. Oh my God, just a huge whale breach out there. I got a jet. Hey, right on, brother. Oh, sweet. Right on. Right on, man. I love the people the devoted 100 people that watch my news program. This is blue collar news. It's almost like a private channel. Anyway, yeah, what else? What else? I mean, it's all just, I devour news all the time. I've been doing this my whole life, and information of sorts. Although for some reason I don't have the mind that can settle down and learn, like teach myself how to do all the things I need to do to make a better YouTube channel. But I'm working on that slowly but surely. It turns out to be, this is homework for my media class. I'm taking one class right now. I dropped my editing class because I was falling behind and I just couldn't handle the stress. And but I'm cruising along. I love being a college student. I'm the oldest one in all my classes. And also this whole channel is also a response to all of my classmates. They don't know shit about shit. Cool, man. Literally, no one in my class watches any news at all, is not informed on any subject ever. So least I could do is do a news program with all the news. Yeah, anyway. And what's going on in sports, huh? You got Luka at the Lakers. Oh, man. And man, I mean, and these Republicans, man, you give them an inch and they are taking 10 miles, right? The assaults on everything from, and now of course they're assaulting the Smithsonian, the Black history at the Smithsonian. And what are they gonna do? Like literally throw everything in the trash so that it can't be reclaimed or whatever? Like, I mean, it's that evil, the shit they're doing. And yeah, we got April 2nd. April 2nd, Tariff Day. So we'll see what happens. I think that's going to be shit day on Wall Street Day. And then April 20th, there's people saying that's April. Not only is it 420, which supposedly comes from, of course, where I grew up, San Rafael, if you don't know the story. But let me just throw a wrinkle in there. Because even Jimmy Kimmel talked about this, and they made a freaking Netflix movie. Guys from San Rafael High. My mom went to San Rafael High. Its competitive high school was my high school, Terralinda High School. And 420 was a term we started using in the mid-'80s, okay? And these guys claim that they started it. But in the mid-'80s, when we were using it in San Rafael, California, where it was originated, the expression 420, which is now a global expression and on business logos everywhere, the two narratives that every stoner kid talked about was anything but what has been explained as the origins of 420. So it's worth noting. I don't know what the truth is, but as a teenager in San Rafael, California, when this expression was first rolled out into the world, we called a getting caught drinking and driving a 502, because that was the expression that the police used. It was a 502. That was the penal code or whatever. And same thing. The word on the street was that 420 was the code for possession of marijuana. So that was one narrative that I heard growing up. And then the other one, never the third one that is supposedly the truth. The second narrative was that there's 420 active ingredients, chemicals, and THC that get you high. And that's why you got to get stoned at 420, basically, is the rule. If it's 420, you need to be smoking weed. Anyway, so that is the interesting narrative the take I have, because I grew up there, where it came from. But and then as an adult, I see these guys, this group of guys that say, we started it from San Rafael High School. I find that interesting. Anyway, again, my mom went to school there. I took some summer courses there from Coach Rainey, the water polo coach, English teacher. He taught me SAT prep. I have several words in my vocabulary still to this day, thanks to him. He's a famous teacher there at San Rafael High, Mr. Rainey. And that's a whole nother story. I made a friend recently who knew him, played water polo for him, and said that Mr. Rainey dated teenage girls often, which is interesting. He ended up dying of a heart attack. Anyway, another story. So, what else is there? I don't know. Oh, I was thinking, maybe, since, I don't have a place to live, really. I'm in FEMA housing. I don't know how long it's going to last. I ain't got no job. And if you don't know this, I rode a bicycle across the United States 3 times a long time ago. In the summers of 1989, 1991, and 1992, I rode a bicycle from coast to coast. First one was from San Francisco down the California coast to San Diego, out Highway 8 to Highway 10, Highway 10 all the way to Pensacola. I got pulled over, told I got to get off the highway there. And so I did, drove through Panama City, on my way to Tallahassee down to Tampa Bay, Florida, where the Missing Children's Help Center was. It was to raise awareness for the Missing Children's Help Center, and then also, subsequently, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, which then brought in John Walsh from America's Most Wanted. He became an ally. And then so I left Florida and rode all the way up to Washington, D.C., where the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, which is the only federally funded organization that helps locate missing children and so on, which just had its funding cut. Okay, so that's relevant and interesting. And then they ended up sort of famous after 2005. Katrina, Ernie Allen, the executive director, who I was an ally with, a friend of. I met when I finally ended the trip in Virginia. I think it was Arlington is where their offices were. And anyway, he was on Oprah Winfrey, because they helped relocate all kind of people that got separated during Katrina. And so that's the Missing Children's Help Center. Anyway, that was the first trip. And then the second trip, I flew to New York City, flew right into LaGuardia Airport, put my bike together in the airport, rode out of the airport onto the freeway, and then into New York City, and then took the PATH train to New Jersey, and then to Newark, and then rode the 1 and the 9 down to Philly, and then from Philly to Pittsburgh. And if you don't know it, it's Philly on one side, Pittsburgh on the other, Alabama in the middle, and then on and on through the mid-country, Dayton, Cincinnati, St. Louis, Denver, so on. And then back to San Francisco, Golden Gate Bridge. I grew up right north of Golden Gate Bridge, so that was the perfect place to finish. And I was on the radio in San Francisco at the #1 rock and roll radio station in San Francisco at that time was KRQR, the rocker, with the guy named Stephen Seaweed, the Weed Man. And he had a show called The Weed Man's Hot Lunch, where you called in and made requests that I like I like Led Zeppelin today, and then or Pink Floyd or Leonard Skinner, and so and the weed man and I became friends, and he put me on the radio each time, once a week, across the United States, 3 out of 4 summers in a row, on KRQR. I called in and gave little reports, and then requested 2 songs, and that was fun. I called in collect. He'd record the whole thing. He had the reel to reel. He'd cut it up, and he was a master of that shit. Great guy, still alive. I just saw him, I don't know what it was. He retired, right? He was at 1077 The Bone in San Francisco Bay Area for a while, and he retired. And then I just saw something on Facebook like he had just gotten a job at In-N-Out Burger. That's a trip. If I ever became successful, and if he is on hard times, that's one guy I'd like to help out. Anyway, there's a lot of ifs, but so that was the second trip. And then the third trip, I flew to Bangor, Maine, and then again, put my bike together there at the airport, tiny little airport, and then show the newspaper article, Craig. All right, I'm gonna show the newspaper article. Okay. And this is cool because what I realized is when you ride a bicycle across the United States of America for a good cause, right? And you're an agreeable enough person like I am, it becomes a ticket, right? That's a ticket in the door. A KOME, 98.5, KOME. That's right. Those are the good old days. That was there was KSJO, KOME, the rock and roll 104.5 KFOG, and 97.3 KRQR, the rocker, with the weed man, and he was cool. I had to go visit him in his studio and watch him do his show and bring him a giant fatty, and I was bribing him, But the first time he invited me to come visit him, because I've been calling in, I'd write out these elaborate requests, and I made friends with him. And the first time I met him, I said, "Hey, what if I rode my bicycle across the United States, right?" Because I was 20 years old, right, and I wasn't ready to settle into just working for the rest of my life, or I was a high school dropout at that time. I still hadn't succeeded in school, hadn't started school, and I didn't want to join the military, and I needed to get out. Marin County is a blessed place, but you might lack perspective if you grow up there. So I thought, well, if I leave Marin and go on the road on a bicycle across the United States, that'll probably give me some perspective. So, and I watched Joseph Campbell give this talk at the Lucas Ranch, which is 2 miles away from my childhood home, right? It was on PBS, and he talked about rites of passage and how we don't have rites of passage, and how and I thought, oh, I could give myself a rite of passage. Riding a bicycle across the United States would be like giving myself a rite of passage. So it was a lot of those things, but yeah, it was also motivated by Joseph Campbell. And then third time I flew to Bangor, and then rode through the northern states back to San Francisco in the summer of '92. But in the summer of '91, at the end of the second trip, right? Like I said, it's like a ticket. I stumbled in to the 49er training camp, right? And the day before, I'd gone to the Auburn Journal, the little local newspaper, which is next to Nevada City, which my family was founded. Nevertheless, so Auburn Journal does a story. The guy gets on the ground, takes a picture through my handlebars, lying down on the ground. Creative. And I'd been on the cover third trip I got on the cover of the Madison Times in Madison, Wisconsin, a bigger newspaper, and that was cool too. But this was the first time, one of 2 times, I was on the cover, like full cover of a newspaper, and it was the Auburn Journal, and it was that picture. And so I brought that into the 49er training camp the next day, when I talked my way right in. I hung out at the front door of the office, and freaking Dwight Clark came up and had a picture on hand, signed it for me, gave it to me. He's like, "What are you doing?" Because the bike's there, right? The bike is the conversation starter. When you got a bike you just rode across the United States on, people look at it and go, "Where are you coming from? Where are you going?" And I was like, "Well, I started in New York, but I'm headed back to say I'm from the Bay Area. I've been a 49er fan my whole life." And so I'm talking to Dwight Clark, and then R.C. Owens comes up. Now R.C. Owens is running the whole training camp, and he's in charge of it for the whole 49ers, you know. And he goes, son, come with me, man. And he asked me what I'm doing. I tell him, he says, come with me. He brings me to his office, sits me down. You want something to drink? And it was KGO day. And so the KGO reporter guy comes in. He goes, hey, this kid just rode his bicycle cross country for this good cause. Hey, you want to come talk to all the KGO sponsors are in another room. So suddenly I'm in another room talking to all the KGO sponsors, telling them the story of riding a bike cross country. And then I got to go through the lunch line with the Niners, but practice was over, and so R.C. Owens was like, "Hey man, here you can come back tomorrow and be a VIP for the day." So I came back the next day with my brother, and he was a VIP, and we took pictures, but I had that newspaper where I just been on the cover of it, so I brought that, and I got it signed by 49ers, including, and I had one of the few things I saved in the fire was some of my baseball, basketball, football cards, and one of them was a Jerry Rice card. Anyway, that's me, the guy lying down on the ground, taking the picture up through the handlebars. That's George Seifert, Jerry Rice, 84 right there. Anyway, that was one of the things I grabbed, last things I grabbed off the wall, you know, as my house was about to burn down. And it's a nice memento. I did find a copy in a photo album just recently that I didn't know existed of the one from Madison, Wisconsin. So that's kind of cool. But anyway, whatever. It's just, you know, you're in the newspaper. It's funny how attached Donald Trump is to every time he's ever been seen on a newspaper. He's like a collection of pictures of himself of shit, which I mean I get. You know, it's fun to be on. Anyway, whatever. See, this is just my hubris. And that's why I'm losing people watching, because I'm talking too much. Thanks for your patience. Have a great day. Do no harm, do no crime. Thanks for watching All Good Things and All Good Time. And go out there and try to find something funny to say or think, because that's the best we can do right now. All right. Have a great day. Love you guys. Aloha.